Hello, I'm Mike Whitby at the summer school for the BNP, and we've had a cracking weekend, and we're here with our chairman and MEP, Mr. Nicholas Griffin. Hi,
Hello,
Nick.
how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. How do you feel it went?
Really good event, I think, and good in terms of the spirit of it, the comradeship. Very, very good in terms of what we got done. We had a mixture of seminars, lessons and discussions, a mixture of practical organisation, especially on what we need to do to win elections, and some really superb new stuff coming out there, and also good focus on our ideas, our ideology, what we're really here to achieve.
Excellent stuff. There was also something going on last night which I'd like to mention to you, Nick. I was absolutely amazed at how many words you remember in all of these folk songs. How do you do it?
Well, I've been a fan of English folk music for many, many decades, and it just gets in your head. So, if we wanted to, we could sing there for 4 or 5 hours without repeating a single song, but I think that'd be too much to ask people to bear.
No, we all loved it, mate, and on behalf of everybody that was in the audience, we all want to thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that. I thought it would go down well. We did the same thing the night after the last Red, White and Blue, with just basically myself, John Walker, a few others singing a few songs to start with, and then getting songs that actually everybody knows, or they don't really know it. They certainly know the choruses to things like Black Velvet Band. We didn't do Leaving Liverpool last night, but we'll do.
Couldn't remember the words.
Well, you've got to learn it for next week for the Indigenous Forum Family event, because we'll certainly do that there. We should actually have done it years ago. People have come up to me and said last year and this year, because that's really what people want. And rather than having, well, we're not allowed, because in slave Britain now, you can't play music without a licence if it's amplified and so on, and we can't get a licence. Yeah. But there's an exception for folk music and things where just people sing along with perhaps just one guitar or accordion or whatever. That's accepted, so we can do that. So let's take advantage of that, because as you saw yourself last night, really everybody loved it. It's a great event, and as I say, we'll do the same thing next weekend as well.
Excellent, and that's really how our forefathers passed it on down through the ages, isn't it? Sitting around with all families, as you said earlier, from babies up to grandfathers and grandmothers, passing on the message. That's
absolutely it. I learnt Widdicombe Fair, for instance, from my dad, who's not a singer, but I remember him singing it when we were travelling on a long car journey when I was a little boy. I think he probably got it from his dad or his mother, so that's there. And Black Velvet Band was the first folk song I ever heard, was on a bus with my grandparents on a coach with a village outing trip from the village in Suffolk where they lived up to see some stately home on the Norfolk coast. And this fella was singing on the bus, and I must have been about 6 at the time, but everyone joined in. I was just blown away by the fact that everyone knew this song and what a good song it was. And many years later, I just remembered a few snatches of it, and I came across it, and learnt that and learnt others. So it's a great thing, and the beauty of it is that people don't have to have a great voice. It doesn't matter. It's just joining in, being part of it. That's where the buzz is.
Absolutely right there. I remember when I was a kid, I was 5 or 6 or whatever, and there was my parents and all sorts of relatives and friends who were sat on chairs around the room against the wall, and it would start at one side and they'd have to sing whether they liked it or not, and it went right around the room, and some of them had fabulous voices, and there's me underneath the table, 5 or 6 years old, watching it. So it was great. So Nick, thanks very much for the weekend and for everything else you're doing.
Yep. Well, thank you very much, and again for the viewers, you've got next weekend, the family weekend. It's on this fantastic site. It really is beautiful. There's strictly limited number of places. We're limited to about 120 tents, a maximum 499 people. It's a preference to families. But for that matter, anyone who's willing to come along and sing, give it a go, perhaps bring along dressing up clothes for the kids, come along and tell the children stories. Whatever you can do which entertains you, other people, and especially is something about passing on some aspect of our heritage to the next generation, come along. We'll look forward to seeing you and look forward to seeing what you can do. Thanks a lot.